It's really nice to see so many students here. Okay, so my speech today, I titled Life's Many Paths. When I was 15 years old, my ninth grade English teacher, impressed by my writing skill, told my mom that I should become a college professor. Flattered and always possessing a deep love for learning, I took her words to heart. For the next 10 years, I took steps to follow that path. I, like many of my students, believed that I needed to have my entire life planned out in high school. I was high achieving and constantly stressed. Failure in my mind was not an option. I saw my future as fixed, every carefully planned step destined to save me from uncertainty or pain. But I learned that in life, uncertainty and pain are unavoidable. No matter how carefully we plan, life has a way of shaking you and shaping you to become what you're meant to be. And that's what I want to talk about today, to encourage all people, no matter their age, but especially the teenagers present today, to become aware to the many potential paths that you might find in your life. I entered the University of Michigan with the intention of double majoring in English and history. That immediately changed when I entered my first ever college class, an incredible art history course on 19th century French art. Here was my first shift, and it wasn't a big one, but I instead double majored in history and history of art. After graduation, wanting to take a year off before beginning graduate school and my imagined illustrious career in academia, I decided to spend a year volunteering through AmeriCorps. At age 23, I found myself living in southeastern Montana on the Absalaga, or Crow Reservation. I did not expect that year to change the trajectory of my life. I lived in a town with a population of literally 83 people. Lost in the vast Montana plains, my town consisted of a handful of trailer homes, a school, a church, a post office, and a pop machine, and that was it. The nearest grocery store was 25 minutes away. I spent this year living with 3 other volunteers in a trailer next to the K-8 school, where we worked as academic assistants. So we weren't teachers, but we were helping out, assisting in the classrooms. I had never experienced a mixture of such beauty and pain simultaneously before in my life. Extremely conscious of the history of white communities entering indigenous communities to help, I was highly aware of my positionality. But many of our neighbors, coworkers, and students shared so much of their culture with me. We attended powwows, ate deer and flatbread given to us by our neighbors. A 5th grader even adopted me into his family, clan, and the larger Crow tribe. Kinship ties are expansive in the Crow community. Even now, 7 years later, every National Sibling Day, he texts me. But 2, I saw firsthand how the historical trauma imbued on the Crow community directly affected every single person on the reservation, from extreme poverty to addiction, to a lack of access to fresh food and well-paying jobs, to high rates of missing and murdered Indigenous women. I moved from learning about this inequity in an academic context to witnessing it directly. I was forced to confront my own privileges, history, and blind spots, and felt compelled to work toward a more just world. When the year ended, I was not the same person. But I still believed in the career path set out for me at age 15. So I moved to Philadelphia. There, I attended a master's program in art history at the University of Pennsylvania, with the intention of afterward working towards a PhD in history. I lasted 1 semester in the program. I quickly learned that, while still possessing a deep love for learning, I was called to a life that more directly worked with the community. After I left Penn, I stayed in Philadelphia for another 6 months or so. I had a wonderful job working as a museum educator at the Museum of the American Revolution. Being a museum educator, one of your main jobs is taking around all of the student groups who go on field trips to the museum. And so I take them around and teach them, and it was there that I really was like, oh, this teaching thing could be an option. But I did not yet become a teacher. My family had always told me that I'd make a great teacher, but I never thought it was for me. I wasn't one of those girls who played teacher as a kid. I never dreamt about my future classroom. I never felt like that was the path for me. And after I moved back to Michigan, after living in Pennsylvania, I was lost for a while. I felt like a failure. I was directionless. I spent a year working for a nonprofit, editing books, and substitute teaching. In 2019, I finally realized that everything prior to this had really been pointing me towards teaching. I found myself again and again working with young people, working in kind of teaching adjacent jobs. I returned to U of M in 2019 to earn my master's in education and my teaching certification. And at 27, at the height of COVID, I finally began my career. While teaching is an incredibly demanding job, it is also incredibly fun. Every day is different. I have the opportunity to not only teach about my favorite subject, history, but to work directly with young people and help them navigate what it means to be a person in this world, moving forward with drive, compassion, and balance. I tell you this story for a reason. I had a plan for my life that didn't work out. Instead, I met many incredible people, lived in interesting places, and grew as a person as I figured things out along the way. Students, you don't have to have your life all planned out. Sure, it's good to have a broad idea of your interests and goals. Some of you might know that you want to be a lawyer, and you might do exactly that, and this speech could be totally irrelevant to you. But be open to where life takes you. Don't get your heart set on only one college. Take every interesting opportunity you have to learn and travel, and you may be surprised where you end up. You're going to make mistakes moving forward, but a life without failure really just means that you haven't taken any healthy risks. I have no doubt that whether your path is straightforward or winding and meandering like mine, you will find your way and do fantastic things with your life. Thank you.